I'm live. Okay, one of the things that I can't stand is when you see people going live on Facebook and then they're not looking in the camera, they're like looking down here. And so you see this whole weird moment. So I'm gonna try not to look at myself because I don't wanna look at myself, but yay, okay, I see somebody joined. So clearly I'm here, and I am not Suzanne Evans. I am Melanie Orr. Suzanne is on a flight today. She's flying back from an amazing event that she went to that was out in Washington State, and I'm sure she will talk about it some in the upcoming days. So I'm here this morning. You've got me instead of Suzanne, so buckle up. Let's have some fun. And just in case, for those of you who have no idea who I am the president of Driven Inc. I am also Suzanne's life partner, and we have a beautiful son together, Adrian. So there you go. There's some context for you. So hi guys, hi Kitty, hi Joy, hi Hazel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad you guys could join us. So this morning I'm going to talk about two things that are deep on my heart that I like to talk about. One is, I think Suzanne has been talking to you guys about this a little bit, but I'm just going to talk about it because it's something that I really love, which is Cheer. Guys, if you haven't seen the docuseries Cheer, you're missing something huge in your life. You need to watch it. It is about cheerleading, but put that aside. It is an incredible, incredible docuseries. So let me see, for those of you who are with me this morning, if you've seen the docuseries Cheer on Netflix, say hell yeah, because it is amazing. And so there's this thing called Matt Talk. So anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to talk about something that, if you haven't seen it, has no meaning for you. But if you have seen it, there is something called Matt Talk. And there's this video that I saw this morning of one of the people that were in it, Jerry, doing some Matt Talk. And he just makes my heart really happy. He's someone, I need a Jerry in my life. We all need that person that's just got this positive attitude no matter what is going on, no matter what seems insane in your life, in your day. That is what you need. So, I hope everybody out there has a Jerry who can do some Matt Talk for you, because we all need that. So that being said, here's the thing I want to talk to you guys about this morning. That is a topic that I get pretty passionate about, which is refunds. Sometimes we get a lot of flack about refunds. People are scared of refunds. They're scared to, Suzanne and I did a podcast recently where we talked about it. She's like, you should talk about this because you seem to have a lot of opinions about it. And I kind of do, because, I think one of the things about refunds is it goes back to policies in your business. If you're truly running a business, businesses have policies. And if you aren't taking the time to think through worst case scenarios and think through, how do I create boundaries for my clients that are clear and concise, and how do I protect my company so that we are protected as well, then you are doing a disservice to yourself. And I think a lot of you, sorry, I don't mean to be distracted, but my watch is like pinging and it normally doesn't make sounds and it's making me crazy and I want it to stop. But, how do you take the time to really sit down and formulate policies for your company? Because it's important, guys. It is super important. And here's why it's important. Because, a lot of you, it's important because I have mouths to feed, not just my own and not just Suzanne, but I have 15 staff members out there who have health insurance, and they have mortgages, and they have rent payments, and they have car payments, and they have things, and I have to make sure that they are taken care of. So if I don't have really clear policies in my company, I am doing a disservice to my business that I'm trying to run, because if I don't have clear policies, then there is absolutely nothing, anybody could pay me money and then be like, no, I want it back, and you create a whole kind of mess for yourself. Then at no point in time can you, as a business owner, trust that you have funds in the bank. And so that's why policies are so important. And you guys, you have to stop being wimps. You have to stop being a wimp when someone says, I've decided I don't like you and I want my money back. No. Sure, if it falls within the refund policy, it's fine. You can hate me, you can hate Suzanne, you can hate the product, you could just have a bad hair day, your cat could need surgery, whatever it is. If it's within the policy, then fine. But if it's outside of the policy and we have clearly listed out what your obligation is to me as a business owner, everybody has policies. Walmart has policies. You know, they're not going to just take your clothes back without a receipt. I mean, they might, and then you get an exchange for certain things, but there's rules. They have specific policies in place to address it. And here's why you need policies in place. If you have very clear policies, refund policies, and this is whether it's an online purchase or whether it's you know, a contract with you for consulting or coaching or whatever it is that you do. If you're a home builder, you need these policies, because when you have very clear language and you have policies in place, then you are working from fact and not emotion. I can't tell you how many people come to me with very emotional reasons why they should get all of their money back. And I have to be, you know, then it allows me to be, you know, empathetic and say, I'm so sorry you were going through that. I'm absolutely horrified. It sounds awful, but what's happening in your life circumstance is not at all related to my policy. And if you change it for one, you have to change it for all. So a lot of you, if you're going to be a business owner, you have to buck up and you have to get really clear and you have to be willing to have some hard conversations with people who just want the money back. And some people have some really legitimate shitstorm life stuff happening. And that's okay. I will work with anyone. There's not one person. If you don't go into blame and I'm not paying you and I hate you, if you don't go into craziness because you're getting an answer you don't want to hear, despite the fact that you've either signed a contract or you've agreed to it online, because we don't sell anything without a clear policy listed that you acknowledge you have seen. So if you come to me and say, you know, listen, this happened to me and I need help, I will work with you. We have worked with people. We have taken, you know, insane payment plans, as long as you were in communication. And we're not heartless, but we also have, like I said, obligations. We have obligations. We have people that we feed, that we pay. And, you know, and people will sometimes pull this stuff and they'll be like, oh, but you make enough money. You don't need my money. You can pay your staff. You have no idea. If I have enough of you, I'm going to call you Sally, because I don't think there's anybody on here named Sally. You know, if I have enough Sallys in 1 week that say, well, you don't need my money, I'm not, you know, then how can I pay my staff? You know, it's just, it's little and it's insidious, but refunds and those sorts of things, without you having clear policies, they add up over time and they can really catch you off guard and really create a lot of problems in your business. So, you know, policies, and I'll be honest with you, our policies, they've changed. We've been doing this for, I don't know, 11 years now, going on 11 years. Suzanne's been doing it longer. I've been in the business for 10 years, a little over 10. So 12-ish years. Policies evolve. You know, sometimes we do a policy and we go, ooh, well, we had all these problems with this. This wasn't as clear, you know, we thought it was clear. They didn't think it was clear. Let's tweak this, let's change that. So policies can evolve. But just because you create a policy doesn't mean it has to stay exactly as is, but you have to be clear about it. You have to be willing to defend your policy and really talk people through, no, this is why. And for those of you, I know a lot of people who end up following Suzanne and following us are in the coaching, consulting world. You know, I'm looking at you are doing a disservice to all of your colleagues and this industry by allowing people to walk away from their obligations. We as a society are just allowing people to walk away from obligations. I would rather you not buy from me if you're unwilling to truly commit to something. don't buy. Then don't buy. But if you do buy, I have very clear policies and procedures and outlines for that. And I believe that it is my moral obligation to hold people accountable for commitments that they have made and work with you. If you can be an adult and you can be a mature business owner, because life happens to us all. There are highs and lows that we all go through. And if you can be an adult and not run from the conversation and have a conversation and say, I'm in a hard time and I need you to work with me. What can we do? We will work with you. But I believe it is my moral obligation to, if people commit to us and to our work, to hold you accountable to follow through on it. And all of you, if you're a coach or a consultant or doing any of this type of work, if you just allow people to walk away and you roll over and don't, confront them on why they aren't fulfilling their obligation, even if they hate you, so what? You may hate me. You probably hate me because I'm telling you the truth. So, Suzanne, you probably hate her because she's telling you the truth and you don't want to hear it. But trust me, she is no different today than she was the day that you bought. You just wanted to believe in that moment, and now you've lost your belief and you're in an uncomfortable place, and that doesn't work for you. So you want to blame us and be able to walk away from your obligation. Life doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. And there are far too many people who are doing it and kind of allow it to happen. And you can have whatever kind of policies you want, but you have to be consistent, because if you do it for one, then you got to do it for all. So you can't think, oh, well, I'm going to let this Sally get away with it because I really like her, she's nice, and that cat of hers is really so cute and it needs help. You've got to be consistent, because you do it for one Sally, you got to do it for all of them. So, consistency, but also knowing life evolves, right? You get through that policy, you get through that contract, you can update your policies and change them. So I want you guys to really take that in and think about it, because this is really kind of what separates, real business owners from people who are just kind of doing hobbies. Because if you don't do this stuff, guys, you can't predict your cash flow. You can't predict that the money will be there. You're kind of just playing house at this point. You're not really, really settling in and trying to build something sustainable for yourself, for your employees, for your community. You have to do that. It's something that you've really got to take seriously and really think it through. Listen, you can start simple and look online and look at other people's refund policies and look at what they're doing and kind of craft something. For those of you who have an attorney, if you're doing larger contracts, you can there's certain language that you should have in them, but you do need an attorney to put those things together for you. And it can cost a little bit of money, but it's well worth it in the long run. Just getting them to put together a boilerplate template for you is well worth it in the long run. It's worth the investment in it. And so no matter what size you're at, no matter how small you are, if you're just starting out, you need to start thinking through, what are your policies? How are you going to put those policies in place? And then how are you going to follow up on them? For instance, I know so many people, they get started and they start this whole thing with, I'm gonna do stuff online. I'm gonna just sell products online. Great. Well, sell products online. But if you don't have clear policies for anything that you sell online, anything in general, if you say I'm not giving you a refund and people do chargebacks, the credit card companies, if you don't have the language that they want to see, and trust me, they outline what they want when you sign your merchant agreements, that language is in there, what they expect for refund policies and listed out. And because they don't want to deal with the hassle of this, they are really great at getting on the phone with you and kind of walking you through what they need if you're not sure. You have to make sure that you have policies in place. Otherwise, it may not be up to you whether you do a refund or not. If they decide to do a chargeback, and you have no policies in place and you don't have really clear language in place and things that they understand and the credit card company agrees that they understood, they'll get their money back. And then you're kind of left holding the bag. So what you have to do is put these policies in place. And because we have these policies in place, I don't want to say never, but very, very, very rarely do we lose chargebacks, because we have this language in place so that the clients are very clear, and the credit card companies look at it and they go, it was really clear what you signed up for. It was really clear on what the expectation is, and they have the documentation for it. And so, no, you can't charge back your money. And again, guys, this stuff is a pain in the ass. It's not fun, you know, and I think this is why a lot of people don't do it, because it's sort of the unsexy side of business. You know, there's nothing exciting or sexy about, you know, writing policies and, you know, giving documentation to a credit card company for chargebacks. But in the long run, it is what you have to do to protect yourself, to protect your business, to let your clients know, oh, I'm making a serious decision here, and I need to really pause and think about it. And I want people to do that, because, you know, I'm fine if you walk away. Our job is not to sell you into buying our services. Our job is to get you to make a decision, a well-informed decision. And so making sure that that is laid out from beginning to end, what the decision is you're making, what the financial implications are of that decision, and what the policies are that you are agreeing to adhere to. Our job is to make that super, super clear for you so that you can make the best decision for yourself. And so for each of you watching today, if you are running a business and you aren't doing one little aspect of that, shame on you. You got to get up tomorrow, start today. It's 10:15, depending on where you are in the world right now. You have got to go and make that happen. And I'm just going to look over here and see if anybody's, Kitty, you said you only have one team member and you worry. And yeah, you know, I think a lot of people get into a space where they're like, how am I supposed to keep up with all this? I have one person. This is something you have to make time. You know, Gary Vee, I think, preaches it all the time. Like, then don't sleep. You know, seriously, for like 1 week, stay up late and get this shit done and follow up on it and create systems in your business so that because this is how you get more team members. When you have consistent policies so that people aren't just willy-nilly leaving whenever they want to leave your program, and you don't know whether they're going to be with you for a year or whether they're going to be with you for a month. You know, if you don't lay out these policies, then, you know, you're never going to get 2 team members, guys. This is the foundation to being able to build your business. So you've got to find the time to do it. Joy, do you have any recommended spaces to find set of standard policies or templates? You know, I haven't used LegalZoom in a really long time, but you know, listen, my sister-in-law used it to do rent documents, and we kind of looked through it, and I was like, this is really solid. So, you know, I think LegalZoom is probably an inexpensive place to start that could give you some basic things. Like I said, go on other people's websites, people that you admire, and if you're looking at online programs, you can probably get an idea of what their refund policies are and how to start crafting language around that. But for larger contracts, LegalZoom is a good affordable place to start. And then find an attorney. You know, find an attorney. You could start with a LegalZoom, get yourself a template together, and then send it to an attorney that's local and in your state and who knows your state, you know, policies and procedures, and can review that and go over it with you. Great. Oh, Suzanne sees me. I guess she's on the plane watching me. She's got nothing better to do. I have solid policies and procedures in place, and I have clients sign off on that and read and understand them. I have a quick run through with them. Yeah, exactly, Yvonne. Walking them through it, understanding how this all works. Yeah, and you know, Audrey said, look at the contracts you've signed. You know, if you're not sure how to create a contract, look at other things that you've signed in the past and say, what do they have in here, and what should I have? You know, I'm not an attorney. I like to play one on Thursdays on Facebook Live, but you know, I definitely have. The more contracts you read, it's a muscle. The more you start understanding how to connect the dots and how to craft language, and you can really kind of teach yourself some things that are important, so then you can have a really informed conversation with your attorney and go, hey, I wanted to shoot this over to you. I'm having an issue. I don't think this particular clause is clear. Can you help me with that? So yeah, absolutely. Look at anybody's online policies that you want to look at, and then also who's doing similar work to what you're doing. And then you want to look at contracts that you have signed, but you always need to get an attorney to look at it. You know, if you called me today and said, hey, can I have your contract? I'd say no, because I can't give you legal advice. I am not an attorney. So you know, I can tell you, like, these are some clauses and things you need to think about in your contracts, but you know, I can't dispense legal advice. So don't do that. If you're one of our clients, do not send in emails today to Alex begging us to send you contracts, because we won't do it. But you're welcome to, you know, look online at other people's policies, and you really have to think through, like, why would I give a refund? You know, is there a window of time where I feel like they are able to, you know, look at the information and then it's reasonable that they've decided this doesn't work for them? You know, you've got to kind of come up with, what do you think is best? You know, no refund policy at all, and they can get a, you know, they can ask for their money back whenever they want and hope that they forget. Listen, I've seen people do it in so many ways. And what I will tell you about every single business owner whom I have seen run policies is everybody's evolves and changes over time. Now, one person, us included, what my policy was 10 years ago is not what my policy is today. And what my policy will be 2 years from now will probably evolve and tweak and change ever so slightly, depending on the product, the deliverability, a lot of factors. So, you know, that's the biggest, probably, here's your biggest lesson in business, is you just got to be flexible. Everything evolves, everything is changing, everything, what suits you today will not suit you tomorrow. And so you really have to kind of think about it and go with that. So also, are there policies you would recommend for us to have other than a refund? Oh, joy, honey, that's like a 5-part series, but it just depends. Honestly, there's so many things. I mean, there's employee agreements. I mean, what I do in the company nonstop are contracts. So I'm dealing with all the hotel contracts, all of our vendor contracts, our employee contracts, our client contracts, our, you name it. I deal with it. So, you know, it depends on if we're talking, you know, employment contracts, or if we're talking, you know, if we're talking client contracts, but pretty much everything that you do needs to outline expectations. This is what you get, or this is what I'm getting. This is what I will pay you and how it will be paid. This is the consequence if this isn't paid. And this is the understanding of what I am paying, meaning I will get a refund if I turn in X, Y, and Z, or meaning there are no refunds. You sign this agreement, and whether you use the work or not, you know, you've got to work through those languages, but kind of defining that, because if you don't define those things, then again, you're leaving your business up for, you know, a lot of issues of just unknowns, you know, people coming back and being like, oh, I know that I used all of my coaching calls, but I really decided I didn't get anything out of it. So now I would like my $25,000 back. What? No, I did the work. Well, I didn't like your work, but that's not what, that doesn't matter. So you need to define those things. I mean, think about some of the craziest conversations that you've had that have really upset you or rattled you, and you've been like, why would you think that this is okay? Those are probably the things you need to look at and go, can I craft a clause around it? And again, this is what attorneys do, right? You go, here's what my business is. Here's what I need. Here's some issues that I've come up against, and I need some language in there that can protect me and can define some boundaries for my clients so that they understand what and how this will work. There you go. Yeah, Audrey, I have a policy charging for no-shows. Yeah, absolutely. Everything, guys, think about the things that really create problems for you. And here's the thing that nobody wants to hear, and this is probably why I'm so good at this, is, and Suzanne's probably talked about it, and if not, you know, we joke all the time that I'm the hell no to her hell yeah. For some reason, my brain really can easily go to worst case scenario. So if those of you have ever watched This Is Us, and you know Randall, he randalizes things, you know how he has to go to the crazy place. I'm really good at going to the crazy place and being like, yeah, of course I sold you this cup of coffee, but What if somebody chips their tooth on the cup? Can they hold us responsible? You know, like I can really go to the nitty gritty. And you have to. Contracts are not meant for when everything is perfect. Contracts aren't meant for the perfect, ideal, wonderful client. Contracts are in place so when life happens, the shit hits the fan, somebody gets emotional, confused, or something else comes up, you're not having an emotional conversation, you're having a factual conversation. And sometimes that feels really uncomfortable to you guys in the very beginning. It's like, oh, I don't want to say this. Well, this isn't happening. This is saying if this happens, God forbid if this happens, this is how we agreed to handle it. This is what we are agreeing as our ground rules. Should you decide that you're going to divorce your husband and run off with someone to Tahiti and leave your life behind. You just don't get to leave my payment behind. You can do whatever you want with your life, but this is not going to affect me in that way. So it is worst case scenario. And I think some of you don't like to think about that, and you have to. And that's why attorneys do what they do. That is why you have to go to an attorney and have them look it over so that they can be very, very clear. So communication, it is communication. It is over communicating and saying the things that people are uncomfortable saying so that you have clarity. Because when you and I have clarity about how this will work, it's just facts. You can't feed information into it that's emotion based. It's just, oh, you're right, I did agree to this, I forgot, I hoped I wouldn't have to do it. And then you don't have to necessarily be the bad guy. You're like, but this is what you agreed to. Nothing has changed. So I can't change that for you. And as much as I would like to change it for you, I can't change it for you because then I have to change it for all. So consistency and clarity. You did chip your tooth on. I just saw someone's comment that says they chipped their tooth on a cup. I don't know why I said that. It sounds awful. I'm so sorry that happened to you. Okay, guys, any other questions that you have? Because I'm getting ready to wrap it up. And Suzanne will be back live here tomorrow. I've really enjoyed my time with you. I hope that you have found this useful. I hope that you can take this information and it's really given you food for thought about how you approach your business and the policies and procedures that you guys have in place. So yeah, I don't have anything else going on here. No other comments, no other questions. So guys, if you, after we get off of this video, if you have any questions, feel free to post comments in here and you can tag me and I'll be happy to come and answer any questions that you have. Until then, have a great day, and Suzanne will be back here live with you tomorrow.